My name is Chris Chimuk. I'm Service Director with Rural and Northern Child and Family Services, primarily based in the Interlake area and also responsible for the Rural and Northern CFS After Hours program for Manitoba. My career started back in 1995, so as a fresh grad coming out of school, really didn't have any aspirations of working in child welfare. Looked for opportunities that came up. Opportunity did arise in Interlake area, and I jumped at it. So back in 1995 when I began my work, I was an intake worker, ongoing worker. Kind of had about a 2-year plan, get my child welfare legs under me and then use that to branch off. So from 1995, about almost 14 years later, I was still in working for rural and working in Interlake. Had positions within as a foster care coordinator, adoption coordinator, managed their family preservation project for a number of years in there. So pretty much cut my teeth working rurally throughout my early start of my career. As a early young green social worker, it really created a lot of opportunities to allow me to really work on my skills. There wasn't a lot of resources and availability of other programs that we could find in Winnipeg. So it really allowed me to really get connected. I learned a lot. Those lessons were extremely valuable, and I hold them to this day forward in the work that I'm doing and training and coaching and supporting staff teams right across the board. Some very influential people in my early years in my career that helped guide me and really look at working with diverse populations, diverse communities. Nothing that you could ever really be prepared for through an academic setting and through the universities or whatever schooling individuals have taken. So I learned tons. I learned what it took to partner with families, listen to stories, to work with them, and really developing strong safety networks with a lot of those groups with really minimal resources. So the overall appeal for me was the values of that practice and that work, and working rurally just really allowed me to grow, really develop those partnerships. It was really valuable. From our northern region to Parkland to Eastman through Interlake, it felt very natural. It was very comfortable to be working with, again, a lot of the younger and the newer staff to be able to really cultivate their experiences and share with them what some of my opportunities have been working, in rural Manitoba, and really trying to impart, some of my experiences with them. And the other piece that really landed well was just looking at our practice model and the approach that we're working with families. It aligned perfectly with my values, the way that I felt that it was important to work with families. Co-creating plans with families and developing safety, working with communities, networks. That's all things that I learned early on. But the real value of that comes from having new staff, not having to toil for years and years in the child welfare system to learn that. Our model and our approach has been very effective in bringing new staff right up to speed when they first start. We've got great foundational training. We've got great opportunities for them to practice based on the theories and some of the tools that we are bringing to the table, but giving them a sense of confidence in the practice, which allows for those competencies to really flourish. Well, from Winnipeg out to Gimli area, it was huge. My wife and I bought a home there. We had our first child out in the community. And that's something that I really value in terms of working in the rural areas. Our staff live in those communities. They are connected with their families within organizations, whether it be sports or other service organizations. So they're part of it. They feel it. It's the culture of the communities they're part of. And for myself, my wife and I, we had lived out in the community for about 8 years. It was extremely valuable for us. It was different, but it was very rewarding. It makes us feel like we're part of something. I think for me, it's the relationships that I've been able to develop over the years. When I first began, I had some very important and influential people that were connected to my professional growth. And what those people did differently is not just telling me about the work, it's about telling me about the communities. It's about the value and the importance of treating people with respect, and taking it from there to be able to really hone your skill set. Listening, you can ask a lot of questions, but really trying to capture the stories of the people that you're engaging with rather than telling them what you think they need to hear. A very different approach. Can you do that in another setting? Sure you can. Is it easier to do it in a rural area? Yeah, it is, because just for those reasons that you're saying, you're the face in the community. You might be at the local hockey rink, you might be at the local grocery store. People see you. They know you're connected there. And sometimes that's a lot easier to be able to connect back with them when they know who you are as a person and as an individual. And that's the approach we want to take. We treat people with respect. We treat them as people. We treat them as individuals with a story to tell. And something that we really try to impart with our practice model and our approach is about really trying to capture their stories.